Dr. Penn, and today I want to talk to you about something that I know many of you might be wondering about. And it's the difference between steroids, methotrexate, and biologics when it comes to managing your child's juvenile arthritis. So these medications, they often do play a role in our lives on our children's healing journey. But there's something that's even more important than whether or not we use them, but knowing why it is that we're using them and what it is that we can do when our children are on these medications to have the most healing and lasting effect. So let's break this down together. First, let's talk about how each of these medications work. The first one I mentioned, steroids. Steroids like prednisone, those are fast-acting medications. They're used to reduce inflammation quickly in the body. So think of them as like a fire extinguisher for the body. When the inflammation is out of control, this will quickly get things under control, hopefully get your child out of pain and discomfort and give them more movement so you can start to plan next steps. Because the last thing that any of us want or really ever should have in this modern era is a child suffering with pain. So steroids can be an amazing tool in an instance like this, especially when we're first diagnosed and we're not even really sure what's going on. It's probably the pain and the swelling that got us to the doctor's office in the first place. This is great. We can minimize the pain or get rid of it and the swelling altogether, and really focus on what our next steps are going to be and what our plan is going to be. The mistake we don't want to make is looking at these or any of the medications that we're going to discuss in this video as the solution. We want to look at them as tools that we can use to help us to heal our children's body, to get them in a state of comfort so we can heal them, because we really can't heal them or us if they are in any sort of pain. And as you know, there are side effects associated with the steroids. They are not meant for long-term use. Another reason why we really cannot just rely on them. We want to use them for what they can do, but we really want to take advantage of that window of calm that the body has, because they cannot be used for very long times, and some of the side effects can be quite unpleasant, as you may already know. Okay, so that's steroids. The second one is methotrexate. Now, methotrexate is a long time used, long-standing disease-modifying drug. It's been used pretty safely for several decades now, and it's usually the first go-to after steroids when we're dealing with our child's juvenile arthritis. And the reason why we use it is because it is known to suppress the immune system. And by suppressing the immune system, what we get is the illusion of, at least it's an illusion of, that we're getting rid of the JIA. Really what we're doing is we're stopping the immune system from attacking the toxins in the joints. And so to our eyes and to our kid's body, it's relief, because we've stopped that action from taking place. The immune system is, I say, like locked in jail with the methotrexate. And now, since the immune system can't go after the toxins in the joints, we don't have this inflammatory reaction anymore. Again, bringing the body into a state of calm and hopefully no pain. Again, we also do not want to see the action of the methotrexate. We don't want to mistakenly think that this is healing our child, because we are actually not just calming down the immune system, we're suppressing the immune system. So not only is the immune system not going after the toxins in the joints, it's not going after anything. And so we really, with methotrexate, we want to use it for what it's good for, and it is to get our child out of pain and to get the swelling down, and also to stop any damage from taking place. Because when the immune system is going after the toxins in the joints, it's trying to clean it out, and it's going to take the good with the bad. And so we need to stop that action temporarily so we can do the work that we need to do to heal the body. But we don't want to just use the methotrexate and deceive ourselves and think, oh, okay, the inflammation's not there. Let me go about my happy life and not worry about this anymore. No, these are in the blueprint. We look at these medications when needed as wonderful tools, but we also are very aware that they're in no way remedies. They're not making the body any healthier. In fact, there are several side effects that do go along with methotrexate, and some of them maybe completely go unnoticed, something like impact on the liver and toxicity of the liver, because we wouldn't necessarily see those things with our eyes or really see the effects of that. And then there's some other visible ones, but we want to treat these medications with the respect that they deserve and also be appreciative for them if we need them. But again, they are used as a tool while we heal, not as a solution. And there's reasons for that. So the third one that this ends up getting us to is the biologics. Right? Eventually, if we continue to go down this road and we're not doing anything in the meantime to turn things around internally, the next step along the road are biologics. So you're probably familiar with popular ones are Humira, Enbrel. There are others. And they act very similar, to methotrexate in the sense that they suppress the immune system, but they're much more targeted, which does make them a little bit better for the body because we're not suppressing every single part of the immune system, just the ones that are particularly going after these proteins in the body, which leaves the body a little bit better off to fight other underlying infections. But still, it does leave the body vulnerable to infection. And really, this is where we really want to be very concerned with any of these medications. And I keep repeating myself, yes, we will use them, absolutely, because our child should never be in pain. But when we understand the root cause of juvenile arthritis, which many people think it's a leaky gut, it actually goes even deeper than that, because why the leaky gut? And usually it's underlying infections. So the body does get imbalanced and out of order, and pathogenic bacteria take the lead. And then we have these infections in the body that go unaddressed, undetected, and they're kind of in the underbelly of the body. So if we only rely on the biologics and let's say that we just reserve ourselves to living on some form of biologic and whatever comes next into the future, obviously that's our prerogative. But what we do want to understand is that while we're doing that, infections in the body that can't get addressed because of the compromised immune system are going to continue to grow in the body. And over time, the effects, the benefits of these medications start to get outweighed because the body becomes more and more toxic. And this leads to not just other infections that maybe aren't even considered autoimmune, but also additional autoimmune diseases because the toxins that are in the joints are now spreading to other organs and other parts of the body. So that's why it's so important that we really respect what these meds can do as far as getting our children out of pain, so we can, not to have such a heavy heart and feel so stressed out, and so that they can enjoy their childhood. But we also really want to respect what they cannot do, and that is heal the body. And really, the only thing that can heal your child's body is you, the mom, the parent, right? So that's just really what we want to get our mind around and really appreciate and understand. That at the end of the day, it's going to come down to us, or it will come down to them when they are adults. But it's going to be a lot harder for them when they're adults. Not only are habits going to be ingrained, but turning this around is much quicker in a young body because their cells are always turning over. And we have a wonderful window of opportunity here where we can use the benefit of our child's body that's in a constant state of rapid repair, along with the benefit of Western medicine and what it can provide to get our child out of pain. And we could take those two things together as in our favor and use this time to begin to heal the body from the bottom up. So we're not talking about a gluten-free diet or just a diet, clean food here. We're not talking about any one thing, any one supplement or any handful of supplements or any handful of foods or anything like that. We really need to take this time to completely rebuild the body. And that's what we do inside the JIA Blueprint. So maybe you wonder, how do we do that? And because a lot of people ask me that, what if my child's on meds? Aren't the meds causing damage? Yep, they are. But they're keeping your child out of pain, are they not? And so there's so many things that we can do in tandem. And that's why I work with my clients on a lifetime access basis, not because it takes a lifetime, but because for some of my clients who do need to rely on these rescue meds, we have to not only get to where the body is healthy while on meds, but we also have to respect our rheumatologist. And when they say they're going to reduce the meds, not you or I, we're going to respect that and heal the body. And then we also have the healing of the body after they're completely off the meds. So it does take time, and it takes strategy, it takes planning, it takes a lot of working together, but that is how we do it. So just to share with you some of the things that we do inside the Blueprint, many people wonder, well, how do you do it? What are you doing? Is it supplements? Is it functional medicine? Is it testing? Is it this or that? It's all of those things, but also none of those things at the same time. So the first thing we're really focusing on are nourishing and healing foods. We are meat stock heavy. We focus on meat stock and other animal-based fats. And that's because those are the building blocks that our body needs to rebuild the gut lining. So we really need to seal off that gut lining, and we need these very specific amino acids and these different animal products in order to do that. But unfortunately, if it were just a matter of sealing the gut, healing the gut, I wish that would be amazing, but that's just one part of it. And I use an illustration. I don't know why this has never happened to me, but I use an illustration of, if you had a busted pipe in the bathroom, sealing off that busted pipe after the walls are ruined, and who knows how long this pipe has been busted behind the wall, and there's all this mold, all this damage, all these different things going on in the bathroom, and not only internally, but externally and cosmetically. We sealing off the pipe is just step one. And the job is nowhere near done, as you would probably agree in that instance. And the same is true with our child's body. So yes, we are going to be using nourishing gut healing foods in order to seal and heal the gut, repopulate the gut. We also need to, and often overlooked, is rebuild the internal gut lining. Many people, we don't know how many of us go and have ever seen inside I've never seen. So, but inside the gut lining are villi that are there to absorb nutrients in our child's body. And unfortunately, their intestines are so beat down like a dirty shag carpet by the time they have JIA that they can't even absorb nutrients. So all of that to say, it is much more entailed, unfortunately, than just changing diet or eating healthier foods or putting supplements down this chute. And I wish that weren't the case. Doing those things will give you some temporary relief. And that's, I think, the good and also the bad, because we might think that we're on the right track and we go to a functional medicine doctor and we spend a lot of money on tests and a lot of money on supplements, and we buy the more expensive organic or gluten-free foods, and we see some relief. But time and time and time again, by the time many of my clients come to me, if they've chosen to continue going down the natural route, it is after this unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, many times after that unfortunate situation, after spending thousands of dollars going the natural route and ending up months or a year down the road in another JIA flare, a lot of times out of panic, the families will just go all the way headlong back into the medical route and not ever, look back and just kind of, take their lumps and the consequences that come along with that. But there is a third option. And for the families who come to me before going through all these things, obviously they're getting much quicker healing. They're eliminating all of this headache and overwhelm and, really a big waste of time by doing it right the first time, because you will get some results by changing your diet and adding supplements like L-glutamine and anti-inflammatory supplements, probiotics, obviously, digestive enzymes, obviously, that you will get some results from that. Unfortunately, no matter how much money you throw at this thing, it's not the end all be all. And that's because with the leaky gut knowledge, which is great. And I'm so glad that some medical doctors and so many functional doctors are aware of it now, because over a decade ago, when I was healing my daughter, that was like, what are you talking about? So I'm glad people know about it, but unfortunately it's an oversimplified diagnosis. And we people, even in the natural world, mostly that are dealing with it, they're going to focus on the gut and not really the full ramifications of everything that's going on in the body. So another thing that we really need to focus on in the blueprint, and you at home, is detoxification. Why is that? Well, I want you to think about what really is going on in the body. I discuss this in great detail in my other videos, and so I don't want to go too into that here for the sake of respecting your time. I know you're a busy mom, and also not being repetitive. But what we know to be true about autoimmune disease is that we do not have an overactive immune system attacking healthy tissue. Once we start to understand the root issue, and let's just start with the gut, even though that's not the real start, toxins are in the tissue. Toxins are in the tissue, and the immune system is detecting the toxins. A healthy immune system detecting toxins, not a confused immune system going after healthy tissue. Say that with me. It's a healthy immune system going after toxins. It's not an overactive or confused immune system going after healthy tissue. That's not what's happening. And so that's where detox is so important, because even if we're doing all this sealing and healing work, we still have the toxins that have gotten out. That's why we have the JIA. The toxins have gotten out, and we need to get them out of the body. And what ends up happening, a lot like that gut lining that's been mashed down like a shag carpet, so have all of the detox pathways. Look at your child's liver like an air conditioning vent that hasn't been cleaned in however old they are. Okay. And what that would look like. Very bogged down. So what ends up happening is the body wants to release these toxins. The immune system goes after these toxins and cleans them out. So they're rogue out into the bloodstream again. And the idea is the immune system has a good idea. Let me clean this out for you. But where do those toxins go? They have nowhere to go. And so they circulate until another fatty area of the body decides to take them up. And then when the immune system detects them there, well, now we have a flare there. Or worse, we have another autoimmune disease somewhere in another organ, another part of the body. So that's why detox is so unbelievably important. Okay. Third one, reducing stress. Some people say, how could kids be stressed? Well, even kids who don't have JIA or a chronic illness have stress. We see that in the world today. Stress raises cortisol. Cortisol kills good bacteria in the body and creates inflammation. So even if you have the most carefree kid in the world, even if your child is not in any pain, because stress could just simply be pain, that would raise cortisol as well. Even if you have a child on, let's say, doing well on the medication, no pain at all, happy-go-lucky, that's great. We also, if we're stressed, our kids are going to absorb that stress. So not to overly make a bigger deal of it than it is. But all that to say is that we don't want to minimize the power of stress to destroy all of our good work. Everything that we're working so hard to do could literally never happen. We can be doing everything right, but we could be doing it like this, and our stomach is in a knot. No healing. No healing. So we want to employ different stress-reducing exercises. Something that I love for young people is a technique called the emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping, because it's something that we can do really anywhere, and our kids can learn to do it themselves and to bring down their stress. And you can do it too. You can do it with them. You can do it for yourself. And so we need to focus on the stress. So far, what did we do? We did the gut. We did the detox. We did the stress. You see, there's so many different components here. Along with the gut, we do need to reseed the gut, right? We talked about sealing it and we talked about rebuilding it, but we also need to completely reseed it. And unfortunately, that involves much more than taking probiotics or eating probiotic food, although that is how we do need to go about it. But we need to recognize what the implications of those are, because what we're doing by taking these probiotic foods and reseeding the gut is we're repopulating the gut to the degree that it needs to be repopulated with this kind of bacteria. And the idea is that's going to crowd out and destroy the bad bacteria that is now in the driver's seat, that is now calling all the shots. Well, when we do that, and when anything dies, it putrefies, it gets stinky, smelly, right? Well, that's what's happening in our child's gut when we repopulate it, right? That's the whole idea. Because if we were just dumping them in there and they weren't killing the bad guys, then there would be no point. So they're killing the bad guys. And then there's death in the body. So a lot of people don't think about this. Brings us back to detoxification, but also just to understand why we're doing what we're doing and when we do what we're doing, right? We can't just go in there and be like, boom, 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 boom. Let's seal the gut, heal the gut, detox the liver. We can't just do it haphazardly. We have to really be in tune with our child's body. We have to have the patience to see the vision long-term, to work at it day by day, and to respond to your child's body each day, which may be different than the way you planned last night that you're going to respond today based on how they woke up in the morning. You might need to implement this. You might need to pull back on that. You might decide to do 2 of these or 1 of those. And so that's the nuance that it takes to really truly heal our child. Unfortunately, we can't just bring our child to a doctor and every 3 months say, run a test and give me supplements and send me home, and think that we're going to get the kind of healing that we're talking about here in the blueprint. Because that is still a conveyor belt approach. It may be tailored. The test might bring up certain supplements. It might say, don't eat these foods, which that's a subject for another video, which I think already exists. Food allergies. It's an interesting conversation. But it's much more nuanced. It is so individual. And it has to be, you're working along with your child's immune system to heal their body. You have to be in tune. You have to be listening. You have to know the language and know what it's saying. And that's what we do. That's what we do in the blueprint. And then finally, and then I also want to share too, along with seeding the gut and taking good care, taking the best care of it we can. We want to avoid antibiotics if we can. Obviously, if we can. That's another subject as well. Antibiotics are often overused. It's given for every sinus infection, ear infection, everything that is, seen to be, bacterial of some sort. It's antibiotics. There are so many other ways to go about most things. Antibiotics have a role. They are life-saving, just like these other meds are. Look at antibiotics as that. Life-saving. And then think about that when you decide with what your child is going on, if it's a life or death situation, because they are life-saving and that's what they should be used for. Other than that, we have other ways. We have better ways to handle those things. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Now, the last thing that we really need to focus on is now We have this overactive immune system. We've sealed and healed the gut. We've rebuilt the internal lining. All the detox organs are flowing freely. What else? Everything, right? Everything's fixed. Everything's moving. We did all these things, right? What about the immune system? It's still like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still turned on. I'm still looking to fight. Yep. See, these are the things that get overlooked. And this is why no matter what we do going down the natural route, we always end up back here. And I hope that's not where you are right now watching this video. But if it is where you are, I want you to know there is hope. This is not a give up. You're not at a give up point. You just need to follow this road and really understand that the power lies in you as the mom, caregiver, to do this. And it's manual. And that's how we do it. But what we need to do, we have a turned on immune system. If it's been overactive, if our child has been on these immune modulating drugs, we have a turned off immune system. How do we modulate it? How do we get our immune system to say, okay, I'm healthy. I'm not going after every little speck of dust I see in here. I know who I am, and I know what is an invader and what is not. Okay, so that's the way that we do that, is by going after all of the underlying infections in the body and getting all of these critters and different things out of the body that is seen and is a threat, but that have been living rent-free in our kids' body. So it's more than just the toxins in the joints. There have been underlying infections living there. H. pylori, SIBO, Epstein-Barr. I mean, these things are just laying low in our children's bodies because we've suppressed the immune system, but usually a lot of times these underlying infections were actually the driver that we didn't realize that were existing for a very long time, causing yeast to rise up, causing parasites to become dominant, you know, all of these things. It's very complex. The body is very complex. Regardless of what came first, they need to be addressed. And that is another thing, the final thing, but we're also doing it in tandem a lot of times, is we really need to make sure that we lock in that immune system and that it's no longer overactive, it's no longer underactive, but it's nice and healthy and locked into a healthy state. So I hope all that's helpful for you. By focusing on these foundational components, this is how we completely reverse our children's juvenile arthritis, or any other autoimmune issue, by the way, or neurological issue, because it is all connected. 70-80% of our immune system is in our gut. And while we're not solely focusing on the gut, we do realize that we really do need to focus where the immune system is and heal it and fix it. So I hope this was helpful to you. I hope it helps you to understand a little bit more what these medications are, immune modifying and anti-inflammatory medications are, the differences in them, how they're used, why we would use them in the JIA Blueprint, and mainly why would we use them? If our child was in pain. If our child is in pain, we will do what we need to do to get them out of pain. We will heal their body while we're using these meds, and then we will heal the body from the meds. Okay, I hope this is helpful. If you want to look more into the JIA Blueprint and working more closely with me, you can find all the information that you need in the description below. All right, until next time, bye.